Hey there, I'm a HOGuru, or the Hidden Object Guru if you don't like contractions. And I'm joined once again by the Night Dog.
I guess that would make me the Nido.
Wow, you should totally go by Nido from now on.
I
Interestingly, in an earlier Dark Souls game, there
mhm.
was a villain named Gravelord Nito,
Oh
Nito.
wow.
So
Huh.
it's not exactly the same, but it's close. So
That
this is the beautiful world of Dark Souls.
that's crazy looking.
Have you ever seen a Dark Souls game before?
Not up close.
I'm familiar with them in concept, but as for actually playing, no, I'm at a loss. And
Yeah,
frankly,
this is
fascinating.
visually stunning though. I like the landscapes and
It's
such.
pretty beautiful. Yeah.
hmm
As you can see, I'm playing as a knight
hmm
who is imbued with the power of flame. That's why I'm throwing
Uh-huh.
off sparks everywhere I go.
And these are claw marks made by the beast that you just vanquished.
Yes, I just vanquished a beast who had been trashing this place for a while.
It's a nice.
Interestingly, the outside you here, you're going to see turtle men. I've just started playing the game and I'm nowhere near beating it, so I don't know what is going on with the mystery of the turtle men.
Aha.
But I'm sure it's going to be epic later on. Although, funny thing about this series, they never tell you any of the story of the series.
Oh really? I was wondering. So it's not got like some kind of like incredibly complicated narrative
Oh, it
backstory thing.
does. They
Oh.
just don't tell it to you.
Oh, weird. So you have to kind of like what figure it out from what
Figure
you're
it out
seeing.
from environmental cues and item descriptions.
Interesting. But is there cinema sequences between
Yep,
levels
but
or?
basically no one ever talks in them.
Oh, really?
There's
Okay.
there is no exposition ever.
Ah,
Yeah,
fascinating.
it's a daring choice,
hmm
and I think it's part of I think how oblique they are is a
Yeah.
lot of why some people like them.
hmm
It's part of why I like them, and who am I if not the ultimate arbiter of what makes for a good video game?
Exactly. Do you find it's more immersive that way? It's like kind of like you're in on the mystery, or not in on the mystery.
Oh
Sorry,
no,
you're
but I'm trying to
not in on
solve the
it.
mystery. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there is that aspect to it, absolutely. If
It's
you're
like actual
watching,
life.
what you're going to see is that I'm very bad at fighting knights with shields.
Ah,
You give me a zombie with a shield, I'm like, oh, take that, zombie, you're done. But a knight who is actually good at using his shield, no, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I often get killed.
that's a lot of people going all the way back to like like the Adventure of Link or something, where they had those dark nuts or whatever who move their shields up and down.
Yes, those guys were the worst.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to see me do a fatal stab to someone in a minute, and that's the kind of badassery this game is known for.
Ooh.
So, the villains in this game, the bosses especially, are famously difficult to beat, but the game encourages you, and this is what I love about it, and this is one of the things I actually love most about the game. The game encourages you to, and you can only do this if in the earlier games you're human, and in this game you are imbued with embers. You can summon people from other dimensions, i.e., other people playing the game, or since for some reason the online service isn't working right now and I can't go online,
hmm
NPCs to help you fight the boss. So if I had a certain item, I don't have it yet. I don't actually know what it is in this game. I haven't checked, but I've played all of the other Souls games. So you can, right here in front of the boss's door, you can take out item X. Right, I'm going to see if I have it in my inventory just to check. You can take out item X. It should be a piece of chalk, which no, I don't have. And you write this chalk on the ground, your name on the ground with chalk, and then someone else will come up to the boss and they'll say, "Oh, I would like Guy X." You being Guy X in that situation, to come and help me fight this boss. And they can, I think, get up to 3 guys to just come and help them fight the boss. And suddenly the boss, who's a terrifying monstrosity on your own, is 100% fightable.
Ah,
It's a really interesting system, and it's part of what makes this game feel like such a fun community exercise.
that is kind of cool.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3 is the most gorgeous Dark Souls yet, and playing-wise, it's extremely playable. But a big part of the game is, and I'm going to show you with the second shield guy here, why I'm really not very good at Dark Souls, is
Okay.
that if you play Dark Souls as a melee character, which you have to early on because they don't give you spells right away,
Right.
the most important thing to know how to do is parry,
Right.
which is to knock your enemy's blade away with your shield, which opens him up to a counterattack.
Okay.
And what you're going to find out in a second is, I am garbage at this. I am so bad at trying to parry things. Like, it is embarrassing how bad I am at it, and that more often than not gets me killed. Because being good at it, like I said, the only determination to whether you're any good as a melee character is whether or not you can parry enemies' blows.
Yeah.
And I can't.
I think I'm in the same boat. Generally, any game that has ever involved blocking.
Yeah.
I'm either, terrible at blocking, like in the context of like a fight, or I'll only block. It's like I can't block to any real use. Well,
Right.
not to any real use, but I can't block in like let's just say an effective way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
using it properly. It's like rubbing your head and patting your stomach, or vice versa, or whatever. At the same time, it's too complicated for me, like blocking and fighting. So I'll be like, I'm blocking, and then like throw in like one opportunity to do some kind of special attack or something like that. But yeah.
Well, I think, and part of my problem, and it's not a big part of my problem, is most of it is just I'm bad at timing.
Yeah, I think that's for me too. Yeah.
I've been playing a game called Bloodborne, which is one guy made this game Demon Souls, which was super popular, and it was so super popular they're like, oh, we should put it on every system. Ooh, but we made a deal with Sony that Demon Souls would only come out on PlayStations, and that not PC, not Xbox. And he's like, oh, well, that's the deal they made for Demon Souls, but I don't recall them making a deal for Dark Souls. Wink. And that's how the Dark Souls games happened.
Oh, okay, that's fascinating.
It is a sequel to Demon Souls, but they can't call it that because then they would get into legal issues.
Right.
So anyway, my point is, so he made that, then he made Dark Souls, which is amazing. Then he went off to make Bloodborne, which is this game in a Lovecraftian, Victorian England, monster hunter-y kind of setting.
Okay.
So it's amazing.
Huh.
But I've been playing that recently. I haven't beat that yet either, because I decided, hey, I'll play that, starting in the week leading up to Dark Souls 3 coming out. I'm sure I'll be able to beat it in that week. And, of course, it went nightmarishly bad. Just embarrassingly terribly. And the point I was getting at is, in that game, I'm kind of used to this, the system in that game, finally, where instead of having a shield to block with, you counter guys by using the gun you carry. Like, so you have a chain sword. It's a cane that turns into one of those chain whips.
Yeah.
Which is just so badass. So you have a chain whip in your right hand, and in your left hand you have a gun. So instead of parrying your foes as they're about to strike you, you shoot them in the face. And that causes them to stagger, and that's how you kill them. Right? Whereas in this game, you block with a shield, and it's slightly different timing. So not only was I bad at it to start with, but I've also gotten myself used to Bloodborne's timing. So really, I would have no chance of playing this game well. But still, if you like seeing me get killed over and over again in video games, this is the one to watch.
It'll be a cautionary tale then.
I think so. I think if people can learn what not to do, like, it was all well and good me playing a bunch of Far Cry Primal, which, makes shooting 3 guys in the head with arrow in 3 seconds so easy that I don't even think it counts as an achievement. I mean, it looks awesome every time, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to be doing it, but I don't really think that I'm 100% responsible for those actions. Like, I respect that the game is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in Far Cry Primal. Whereas here, we're entirely based on my skill level, which is middling to fair.
Right.
There's a reason I'm the hidden object guru and not the intense action game guru. All right. But anyway, I found the most amazing thing this week, and I thought you would love to hear about it.
I would love to know. What is it?
All right. So, I found a Batman story from, I think, 54. I'll check exactly.
Okay.
Where Batman is, he's chasing this crook. Batman and Robin are. I should have mentioned that Robin was there, because of course he is. So they're chasing a crook, and the crook comes across a crashed spaceship.
Okay.
And the spaceship is like, hey, I'm a space crook.
Okay.
I'm running away from the space cops.
Right.
You seem like an Earth crook to me. Wanna join me as intergalactic criminals?
This is what the space crook says to Batman and Robin?
No, to the criminal.
To the criminal. Okay,
Away.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's like, of course I do. That sounds great. I'm being chased by Batman and Robin. So Batman and Robin run into the space cop who's chasing him, and they're like, quick, Batman and Robin, I don't know about these humans and criminals. Why don't you come with me to help me catch him while I catch my space criminal? And they're like, of course, random green man. Why would that not be something we would immediately do?
Yeah.
And here's where it gets amazing. You're about to see a guy in a blue cape. I'm going to run away from him like a coward.
Okay.
He murdered the hell out of me last time I was here, and I didn't get to a chance to investigate this, I don't know, cathedral, whatever this thing is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to run away from him, because I'm a coward. Lots of dead body. Yeah, now you'll notice there are red bloodstains on the ground everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That means that every one of those is a place where another player has died.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So you can touch it and find out how they died, but you can only watch their part of dying.
Not what
so
it was
you can't
killing.
see the monster that was killing. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So
cool.
there's a dude sitting in a chair here, or a chick. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But the point is, a lot of people died next to them.
Right.
So maybe I'm in danger.
Suggesting something really dangerous or big. Can you tell if they all died relatively at the same time, or?
Well, no. It's because everyone was in their own game. So.
Yeah.
Time for finger, visions of rear. That all means nothing to me. The wait has been long on Kindle One. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly.
Mm-hmm.
You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left gone. To their churning homes, converging at the base of this castle, head to the bottom of the high wall, forge on through the great gate, raise the banner to proceed. Hey, I went through the great gate. Oh, she gave me the banner. All right. When I killed the boss there, when I killed the boss in the other area, there was a place where I could have raised a banner, but I didn't have the banner. This is the banner I needed. Neat.
Oh, okay.
Now I know. I don't know why everyone died in this room. Oh, I know why everyone died in this room. Remember the blue
Cape guy?
The blue cape knight?
Yeah.
I bet people all ran away from him into that room and all died because he's a frigging monster.
So I see, ran away after engaging.
Yes, they engaged him. They're like, oh my god, this guy's terrifying. I better hide in this room. And apparently hiding in that room is not enough to save you from the blue knight. I am just going to get killed by a red knight. I'm kidding. I'm going to run away like a coward. Just like all those people did with the blue knight. Ooh, I got a lucerne, which is pretty badass. That's a kind of pike with a bill at one end.
I see.
And a little spike at the other.
Oh, one of those things. Yeah, that's a lucerne. Okay.
All right. So point is, Batman. So they fly to another planet to rescue him. Capture this criminal. And as they're on this other planet, the first place they arrive at is a giant orchard where this planet has huge fruit.
Okay.
But it's all earth fruit, but it's gigantic.
Right, like giant apples and
giant
bananas.
Apples, giant pears, giant bananas. And so they just start throwing them at Batman and Robin and the space cop.
Right.
And they're like, oh no, we've got to back off and let these guys get away. But they don't seem to understand that if those fruit, they're huge. But if they're light enough that these guys can pick them up over their head and throw them, I don't know how they're a threat.
It's just soft fruit in theory, right?
And obviously, despite the fact that it's 6 feet tall, it can't possibly be that dense or heavy because he can just pick it up right over his head without.
It would be like if I threw like a mattress at somebody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
at best.
It might inconvenience you, but it's not a big problem. Oh my god, gargoyles!
Oh.
And these are gargoyles from Dark Souls, who were real D-bags in the game Dark Souls. But now they're carrying me to somewhere else to have an adventure, like they were flying monkeys or something.
They're still horrifying looking.
They are terrifying, you're right. I could have shown you a dragon, and in fact, if you'd like to see a dragon, just tell me, and I'll show you the dragon. But let me just...
Show me the dragon. Show me the dragon.
Okay, I just want to see the dragon.
You can wait, don't worry.
All right. So, no, it's fine. I just got to a new area for the first time, so it's not like I'm desperate to explore that new area and get myself killed in a bunch of embarrassing ways. All right, so what happens is Batman and this is the part I find interesting. They follow them and they follow them and they oh, he's gone through an ocean, and he's like, don't worry, Batman, I have this mask that will let you breathe water. So they go swimming into the ocean, and here's where it gets amazing.
Okay.
They get attacked by a flurm shark. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that world's equivalent of a shark.
Yeah.
Right? And Batman's response is, oh no, a shark. What are we going to do? It's like, Robin's like, what are we going to do, Batman? He's like, well, it may be alien, but it's close enough to our Earth sharks that I assume our anti-shark spray will work on it.
So the famous, hilarious moment that was basically, even in the movie, played for comedy in the 1968 or whatever, 69 Batman movie based on
He's drawn directly from an issue of 1950s Batman. That's how amazing Batman used to be.
So that's almost
belt.
certainly not a coincidence.
Oh, no, it's definitely not a coincidence.
I like in the original.
And I want to point out that they were chasing a criminal out of Gotham City into the countryside. They had no reason they were going to be near an ocean.
Yeah, so it's
he already had on his belt anti-shark caplets that you throw into the water and turn into a cloud of stuff that repels sharks.
So it's just as crazy as it was in the movie.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely.
If anything, in the movie, there's like a greater excuse for it than there is in that original instance.
I think so, yeah.
Because in the movie, I think they knowingly were going
to get his submarine or whatever.
Yeah, they were like attempting to storm the submarine that the four villains were on, or something. I think they were on a helicopter at the time, or something. So yeah, and if they were on a helicopter, I mean, it makes sense that they would have a bunch of canisters of crap. I can't remember if he pulled it directly from the belt, or if it was
helicopter.
If it was in the helicopter, I'm not sure.
Well, it's worth watching the entire movie again to find out.
Yeah, it's really.
Here is a doomed dragon who is turned to stone.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that guy? Because
I see this. Yes,
he's pretty badass.
That's pretty cool.
There's a guy hiding behind these boxes. I'm going to murder him.
Okay.
It's going to be awesome. If you're wondering, hey, if you're so bad at this game, how do you have a boss samurai sword?
Mm-hmm. I am wondering that.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry for feeding you that line. I honestly thought I had to prompt that. Anyway, right at the beginning of the game, there's this area where a samurai is hiding, and he will come out and murder the F out of you.
Right.
Right? But when he dies, the samurai sword gets left on his body. And you might think, but wait, you said you were bad at this game. Well, fun fact, the place he attacks you is on a cliff. And the samurai, while he's boss at attacking people, he is not boss at, when you run away from him, making his way back up the cliff.
Okay.
So while he was trying to go back to his starting point, he accidentally fell off the cliff. And I got all of the experience points for, air quotes, killing him.
Right.
And the sword just got dropped at his starting position. So, am I terrible at life? Yes. But then again, he's dead and I've got a samurai sword, so who's the real hero here?
Exactly. I think that's an excellent rhetorical question.
Thank you. So as you can see, there's a dragon.
Yes, there is.
Very scary. Fun fact about this dragon, as he toasts zombies, I get the experience points.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From his accidental kills of zombies.
Oh, yeah, because he don't like zombies, and I don't like zombies, and I don't know why that means I get the experience points, but I do. So, as you can see, I don't think there's way at the far end there, there's an item. The interesting fact about the game,
awesome.
You can only ever find items in two ways. In a chest. Oh, sorry, three ways. You can buy them from a dude, find them in a chest, but all other items in the game beyond those two come off a dude's corpse.
Okay.
All items. And now that's either dudes you kill, or, like this guy, a corpse I just find lying in the
Right.
Yeah.
This dragon is...
Ow! Oh, I got knocked over by flame.
I love the fire effect as he breathes fire all over the corpse.
Now I'm getting burned by fire on the ground.
The only thing is when you get burned, it seems to be the same kind of like response as when you're just hit with a sword almost.
Yeah, I do the same pain reaction. Which
you kind of stack
hard to move.
Run through the fire.
Yeah, which I think is unfair. I think I should be able to suck it up.
You should be able to just run straight through while losing,
X amount of health, but, I can walk through. So the trick is the fire can't hit here on this scaffolding. So
Yeah.
I wait for the fire to go, and then I run under him.
Yeah.
And I just found a claymore.
Oh,
Which,
nice.
I don't know if you know this. Of course you know this.
Mhm.
It's a silly way to preface the statement I'm about to say, but that is a badass sword.
It is. It is one of
Made
the
famous
most badass
by
swords.
Scotsmen.
Yes.
And yet, it's not what the Highlander uses.
No, that's the crazy thing. He uses a specially made samurai type sword.
A katana that was made for one Ramirez
Mhm.
by his father-in-law,
That's right.
a master swordsman and sword maker. Sorry, not swordsman, master sword maker. That's right. I know Highlander really well. But
You know what I like about Highlander, just quickly, that
go.
particular point of Highlander is like when they're analyzing the sword, they're like, no sword like that could be that old and being of made then. And the fact that that crazy sword existed has nothing to do with the weird ass magicness of Highlanders.
Nope.
It's like there really just was a guy in history
who was that good at sword making?
Yeah, who was that good at sword making. Had there never been Highlanders, it's still possible
That
he would have
sword
just
was
made one
existing.
of those swords, and archaeologists just never found them. Like only he was that good.
Yeah, fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like a weird kind of aspect of the plot because,
Subthing.
like, the way that it's sort of initially presented, it feels like there's going to be some like kind of like broader,
Mystery.
immortals type explanation of it. But,
But-
by the way, do we only talk about Batman and Highlander? I don't care because I don't mind only talking about Batman.
Well,
and Highlander.
we would, except today we have a very important subject that you asked me to talk about.
Oh yes, and just moments before we get into that, I just
Oh.
want to say I went and I watched the clip with the sound off. And yes, the anti-shark repellent is retrieved from a list of other anti-oceanic animal sprays on the Batcopter by
Okay, so
Robin and handed to Batman, who then sprays it on the shark.
so the Batcopter, so it actually makes more sense in the movie
Yeah.
because the copter, which they normally would be flying out over the ocean, that's a normal thing for them to do,
Yeah.
is well stocked with the kind of tools you would need.
Yes, yeah, like anti-squid repellent and such. Yeah.
Whereas in the comic, he literally just had those pellets with him for no reason.
Because it's a weird thing, because it's like that moment in the movie is essentially parodying, because that's what the 60s show, what made it so fun and everything, right? It was basically like a parody of the ridiculous stuff happening in like the Dick Sprang 50s Batman comics.
Yeah.
And
yet they actually made it more plausible than the comic book version.
Yeah.
Well, this is becoming an article/video.
Yeah, it's because they wanted the funny visual gag of there being a series of different bottles with different
Squid
animals.
repellent.
Yeah.
Oh, this was repellent. Barracuda repellent.
Yeah, their love of crazy
Piranha repellent.
labels, which was all accurate to the kind of crap that would happen in the comics.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, they'd always have labels on their various wacky stuff like computers and rogues galleries and such.
That's totally true.
Yeah.
I am now leveling up my my strength, and I have to put together 10,000 experience points. And once I do that, I can be strong enough to wield a claymore.
Nice.
I know.
Mhm.
And you may ask, well, why are you trying to wield a claymore? You already have a samurai sword. And the answer is, I don't know. I'm just trying stuff out. You know, just trying stuff out. Trying to be a guy who learns how to play the game. You know, like just trying stuff out. Yeah. The character I'm doing, I don't know what this character's name is or what his point is, but I like him.
The guy who is just trying stuff
I'm
out.
just trying stuff out, man. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Just trying stuff out. What's the big deal, man? I'm just trying stuff out. Actually, I think there's a thing. Oh, there's a mist wall, and I can't go through it. That's weird. Mist walls generally mean there's when you find a boss,
Mhm.
it locks away, and if you die, it locks away escaping from the area where you found the boss by putting up a mist wall.
Oh.
And you can't escape until the boss is dead.
So maybe you have to kill that knight then.
What night?
Oh, and you're way past the Blue Knight. That's because they carried you away on the gargoyles. I forgot
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
no.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, at first I was forgetting that and thinking
Okay,
maybe
the
he was
mist
the boss.
wall in this case was that it had not loaded the exterior area.
Oh, I see.
All right, I think we just saw a slight break in the game, but that's
Okay.
fine. No,
I'm all right.
I'm not here to complain. So, fun thing, you see, I'm not strong enough to use the claymore right now, but there's a thing in the game system where if you're not strong enough to use a weapon, you can put it in both hands. You only need so it has a strength requirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have 60% of the strength requirement and you put the sword in both hands,
you
can use it.
Ah.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat thing. That means you can't use a shield or
Yeah.
a block,
I was gonna say,
but still, It's pretty boss.
That's nice. It's a nice feature. I like that.
It is. So I'm going to try and kill a zombie dog. And that
Nice.
zombie dog got its ass kicked, which you'll about to see.
Okay.
So now we're going to talk about a show, which is actually super appropriate for this game.
Yeah.
Because in all of these games, you're playing a zombie.
Right.
A zombie who's also a knight, but still a walking corpse.
Mm-hmm.
So what show do you imagine we're about to talk about?
Oh boy, I guess it would be the reprised Fuller House.
Fuller House. You got it, because
it.
it's a shambling zombie of a show that should have died years ago. Oh God, I don't even dislike the show. It's very cute and very zany. No, of course we're going to talk about a little show called The Walking Dead.
Right.
And I believe I'm the one who ensured that you never see the show The Walking Dead.
You are, actually, and the story would go a little something, if I remember, like this. Walking Dead had become a show on the television, and I guess this was the first season.
Yep.
And you told me of a moment in the show where, I guess, I don't know the names of the characters.
He was played by Michael Rooker.
Okay.
By famous actor Michael Rooker.
Okay, so Michael Rooker was the victim in this case?
Yep.
Okay, so Michael Rooker, I guess zombies were a-coming at this point, is what was happening?
They were locked behind a door.
So they weren't coming all that quickly,
no, they
right?
weren't coming that quickly.
Okay, so zombies...
There was a door with a chain on it. The zombies were working their way through it.
Yeah, like, eventually zombies were a-coming. Not necessarily in the most immediate sense, but, and Michael Rooker, by another character, I guess, again, I don't know which one.
A little character named, I don't remember name is exactly. Yeah. Maybe his name was T-Bird?
Okay.
Something like that. The point is, he was their black character who only went by a nickname.
Okay, so T-Bird had handcuffed Michael Rooker.
Mm-hmm.
Using handcuffs, he'd handcuffed him, as you do. That's what you handcuff people with his handcuffs.
That is how you handcuff people, yes.
He handcuffed Michael Rooker to
a worn metal pipe.
The rail on the front of a bar, I guess is what it was.
It's part of a pipe that was probably part of the cooling system or heating system of the building.
Okay.
So there'll be a cistern on the roof, and this pipe would be part of that system.
He'd handcuffed him to a pipe, is the point. And then, dramatically, T-Bird threw Michael Rooker a hacksaw.
No, he threw him the keys, but missed, and the keys were out of reach.
So went down the drain. I've probably falsely remembered or filled in some gaps here. Was this being done out of torment?
No, not at all.
It wasn't get yourself out of here on time, jerko.
No, Michael Rooker was a complete a-hole to everyone all the time, and he couldn't stop causing a fuss, so they chained him up until they were going to leave.
Yeah.
But then T-Bird panicked. And ran off, and he's like, "You unlock yourself, I'm getting out of here." And he throws him the keys, but he throws them badly, and they go down a drain.
Right.
Because he's incompetent as well as terrible.
Okay, but there was an available hacksaw then.
Oh yeah, there was also a big box of tools next to Michael Rooker, and one of the tools therein was a hacksaw. Okay,
so even given my misremembering of
No, you've got the fundamentals.
Yeah, the fundamental point here is then Michael Rooker then proceeded to escape by cutting off his own hand.
His entire hand at the wrist.
And it's a hacksaw can cut through a chain.
Yeah, and now I've talked to people about this, and they say that the tempered steel, it's possible that the tempered steel of a handcuff chain might be resistant enough that you would risk breaking the blade of the hacksaw.
Okay, well, what about a pipe?
They said that in all likelihood, it would go through the pipe.
Yeah, okay. And then as we've conversed about this a few times, and probably then when you originally told the story as well, you could cut off your own thumb.
Yeah,
if all other avenues fail, why did he cut off his whole hand?
Yeah, and the thing is, literally, I don't want to suggest this as a thing to do if you're ever trapped in handcuffs, because if you're in handcuffs and you do this, don't say it was my idea. Right? Because I'm about to say something horrible. I have to take this call, so I will be right back.
Right. Cool.
Sorry about that brief delay.
We're back.
We're back at it and talking about, and again, I don't want you people at home listening to this to do what I'm about to say and then say, "Oh, the HOGuru told me to do it." I'm not telling you to do it. But and this is a worst case scenario, if you are ever handcuffed by someone to a pipe, and that someone is gonna come back and murder you imminently, right? And your only way to escape is to get out of the handcuffs, and you 100% can't dislocate your thumb. Some people can dislocate their thumb, and if you can do that, you can just slide your hand out of handcuffs. But if you can't, if you're not physically capable of breaking and dislocating your thumb, just bite your thumb right off. Just do it. Just take your teeth, chomp, chomp, chomp. Human teeth are 100% capable of biting the human thumb right off the hand.
Right.
Slide that bad boy right off, take off your sock, wrap it tight around the thing, and then get going, because there's a murder on your trail. Hold on to the thumb. Doctors might be able to reattach it, but worst case scenario, you get a plastic thumb put on there.
So Michael Rooker in the show, just to revisit, did he, like, what was he depicted doing any of this? Like, did they
just come back later and find it
all off screen? So maybe in theory, off screen, someone could make a case for the fact that he tried doing those other avenues and they did not work.
Except that you can't fail to cut off
your thumb, other than the thumb severing. Sorry, the other two, he tried to cut
the other two, but it's like, how does it occur to you to cut off your entire hand at the wrist rather than the thumb?
I know that the zombies are coming, but you'd think about it for like a couple seconds at least. Anyway,
it's going to take you a few minutes to cut through your wrist. Yeah. It's going to take you far less time to cut through your thumb.
Yeah, and you're probably going to lose consciousness cutting off your own hand. Like,
I feel like you would go to shock and blood loss.
Shock and blood loss, you would think. And you know, it seems like, you know,
I don't care how tightly you knot that belt around your wrist. No, you're going to lose a huge amount of blood. Oh, but then he went downstairs and he used an iron to cauterize the wound. And I'm like, first off, blood clot city.
Yeah.
But secondly, what, the building had power now? How did he get the iron hot?
These are all good questions, and it's why I didn't watch the show. And the only thing that could have made me is if you had told me the next thing he did was give himself a chainsaw hand.
Well, yes, obviously.
Yeah.
Giving himself a chainsaw hand. The character actually gets a harness built for it and has a knife on the harness that he uses to stab zombies.
Oh.
It's not as cool as you want it to be.
Knife. Big deal. Chainsaw hand, sorry.
No, chainsaw hand is FTW, you know?
Yeah.
Although apparently, like, movies keep telling you can cut people up with chainsaws, but every time I hear about someone getting cut up with a chainsaw in real life...
Stalks at the bone?
No, cuts right through bones, no problem. Yeah. But what happens is clothes and hair
tangle it up.
Gears.
Of course.
So it's like they get halfway through cutting up one person, and then the clothes fibers and the hair just tangle the thing up and break the motor.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and that is the fun story about why you shouldn't use a chainsaw on people in real life. There are other better reasons than that.
And I'm surprised Mythbusters never did this one.
Well, I think there's some good reasons they didn't.
A bit gruesome, I suppose.
Yeah,
but...
it's weird to say. Our myth this week is that you can cut someone up with a chainsaw. That's a weird one to go into.
You can, but
it's not going to go well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you just easily? How hard? And seriously, like, I know the Mythbusters have done some questionable stuff over the years, but how on earth do they get away with the myth this week? How easy is it to kill someone with a chainsaw? Although they did do a murder from Jason X, so
did they really? What was it? Beating someone to death inside a blanket against a tree?
No. That happened both in Jason X, but it's more known for Jason 7.
Yeah, the original.
Jason X, can you freeze someone's face in liquid nitrogen and then smash it against a thing?
Oh, okay.
And the answer is no. You can't at all. Because, and this is the interesting part, so you dunk the face, and they did it, of course, desecrating a pig's body, as they always do.
Yeah.
You dunk the face into the liquid nitrogen, and it freezes the surface layer and a bit of the skin, but then, weirdly, that frozen skin, like, it's not a good conductor of the cold further up. So, like, if you left it in for a while, it would become brittle. But because that skin isn't a good conductor, the cold doesn't go all the way through into the bone of the skull.
Ah, I see. So it doesn't freeze the whole thing. Ah, okay, there you go.
Fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
Every now and then, Mythbusters did manage to educate us about stuff that doesn't matter.
But getting back to stuff that doesn't matter, oddly enough.
Nice segue.
Thank you. I'm a Segway ninja, except for the part of the Segway where I start talking about how I'm a Segway
Yeah,
ninja,
it kind of fell
thus
apart there.
derailing the Segway.
Yeah.
But um, Walking Dead, you were going to tell me more about this series and why I also still shouldn't watch it.
Yes. So
I assume
recently,
this is what you're going to tell me.
no, I was
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm not going to tell you you have to watch it. I'm not crazy.
right.
So I recently found out that in the first episode, one of my favorite actors, Lenny James, was
Hmm.
on the show.
Okay.
Lenny James is an English actor. He played Robert on the show Jericho. That's how I found out about him.
Okay.
And he's a British actor who I know primarily, again from Jericho,
Hmm.
but more importantly for doing the best American accent in the world.
Okay.
Like he is, I have never seen a British actor do a better American accent than Lenny James, to the point where it's like I had no idea when I first saw him that he was English. Like
Right.
no, not even the slightest idea. That's how good his accent is.
Okay.
It's the best, right? So he's on the show, but he was only on the show in the first episode, and I think he was in one other episode, and then he was never, never really appeared again,
Okay.
right? And so I found out that in season 6, the current season, Lenny James comes back and is now a regular on the show, part of the cast.
Okay.
I'm like, I love that guy. And then I found out, how am I blanking on his name? Oh, Jeffrey Morgan.
Okay.
Jeffrey Morgan from Grey's Anatomy and Watchmen and a lot of other stuff. The man gets a lot of work.
Yeah.
Who I'm also a big fan of was going to be on the show, and I'm like, I've got to get caught up on this show. So I watched 3 seasons of The Walking Dead in 4 days.
Okay. Wow.
Which,
That.
I mean, it's not hard to do when you watch everything at 2.5 times speed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do not encourage you to do that.
Right.
Because as I learned from watching all of Fist of the North Star at 3.5 times speed,
Oh boy.
what's that?
You watched Fist of the North Star, a show known for this happening.
Yeah. By the way, yep.
That must
By the
have been
way,
a very interesting experience.
It's way more impressive when he does that at 3.5 times
I
speed.
bet it is. Yeah.
But no, the fascinating thing about Fist of the North Star is, and I found this, like, I think watching it at that speed allowed it to bypass my critical tendencies,
Yes.
and I was able to fully engage with the characters in a way I wouldn't have had I had the time and foresight to be able to sit back and, question the logic of any of this during long sequences of padding and people walking through the desert. Meant to pad out the running time because there's not that much comic to adapt.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
needed to get 150 episodes of television out of this stuff.
Right.
So I think, to a certain extent, I enjoyed The Walking Dead more than someone who actually watched it week to week would, solely because by zipping through, you can overlook the incredibly clunky dialogue.
Okay.
Like the amateurish and super clunky dialogue that characterizes all of the show's interactions between characters. And you can just focus on the plot as it goes forward. Now, the plot isn't much better, but if you ignore the clunky dialogue, you can cut through it and say, well, at least they're trying for emotional relationships between the characters that seem, roughly speaking, human.
Okay.
Roughly speaking. They're not great. But anyway, so watching the last 3 seasons, season 4, 5, and 6, in rapid succession, mispronounced that one pretty badly, was an interesting experience because time and again, it is a show about people who do bafflingly stupid things all the time, but then never really, and then a bunch of people get killed. But the people who are doing the massively stupid things, the show never really acknowledges how bad these people are at living in a zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
You think they would have learned by now to at least 1 or 2 things. So they get they're locked up in a prison, which you'd think, oh, that's a pretty good place to be during a zombie apocalypse.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? But there are constantly zombies piling up on the chain link fence. And then they got to go out there and use spears to stab them in the head through the chain link fence. And
Okay.
And then after they're all dead, they have to cart the bodies away. so they don't fester and smell up the place. And
Mhm.
I get that, and I get that they think that. But first off, why you got 2 rows of chain link fences, right?
Yeah.
So you also have, considering that this is the world,
Mhm.
access to a lot of dirt.
Okay.
Right? So why are you not taking all of the dirt that exists in nature,
Yeah.
piling it into truckloads, driving it back, and filling up the area between the 2 chain link fences with a giant tower of dirt?
That's a good question.
Because not only would that serve to make the fences impregnable, like not only could so all you have to do is put up a couple of planks, hell, put up a plastic tarp,
Right.
fill the area with dirt, and you will have a giant dirt wall, which
Mhm.
makes it so you never have to fear a zombie getting through the fence because there's dirt now, and what's a zombie going to do? And B, hell, it makes it so the zombies can't see you anymore, and they won't get agitated and constantly try to claw at the fence.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
And this doesn't occur to them for a second. Like, it never occurs to anyone for a second that you could just build up a giant dirt hill behind the fence, and the
Yeah.
fence would A, become impregnable, and B, become a better way of hiding from zombies.
Right.
That never occurs to them. Okay, later a guy with a tank shows up,
Mhm.
and yeah, I doubt that would be a lot of use against a tank.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But for the first, 4 months of them being there, the issue was not a tank. The issue was zombies.
Yeah, as I assume it is a lot of the time.
Oh no, almost all of the
Like
time.
90% of the time, it's zombies, right?
90 to 95% of the time,
Yeah.
probably zombies. And then there are also, just jerks who
Yeah.
are always trying to murder people and take their stuff, but
Mhm.
that is less of a problem than the zombies are.
Right.
All right, so here's where it gets extra peculiar. So please bear
Okay.
with me. So a guy so they're in the prison, and they are all lined up in cells, right? And so one of the guys feels really sick, and so he has to leave. He has to leave like a group he's at where people are talking. This kid, it's like a
Mhm.
14-year-old kid. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sick. I gotta lie down," and so he doesn't go to see the doctor who's there, right? The doctor of the
Mhm.
place. And he doesn't, look for any treatment, and no one seems particularly concerned by the fact that the guy is so sick he's vomiting.
Okay. Really, no one cares.
No one even seems to know it's happening,
Okay.
despite the fact that they're all packed into this prison. So the guy gets sick, and he dies inside the prison, and he becomes a zombie and he starts attacking people.
Oh.
And now there's a massacre in the prison because there's zombies throughout the prison. And I'm like,
But don't they live in a world where they're fully aware that this is the kind of
the
precursor
moment
for
you
someone.
die,
Yeah.
no, literally the moment you die of anything, not for the
Oh,
zombie,
just any kind of death at all, you become back as a zombie.
any way of dying, you become a zombie. It's George Romero rules. Anyone who dies for any reason, as long as their brain intact, gets right back up.
Okay. And so
So
nobody thought it, was a concern to make sure that at any one point, like you'd think that if you're in like this closed environment, then that the maximum amount of non-dyingness would be
Yeah.
like the thing you're trying to cultivate mostly.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, if someone's sick, you're either going to try to cure them or, worst case scenario, put them in some kind of quarantine because you think they'll die and turn into a zombie, right?
That's not actually the worst case scenario, but we'll get there. So what happens is, yes, you would put them in a quarantine, but you would at least keep an eye out
Yes.
once a guy was sick.
Sure.
You would keep an eye out and say, "Oh, I'm a little concerned about this guy. He's maybe we should do something about that guy."
Sure. Yeah.
But no, they don't, and so like 30 people get killed.
Right.
And this is a thing the show does time and again. They put the characters in situations where things are slightly better, so they've got a bunch of survivors together, working together, but the show doesn't know how to handle that volume of characters because it's a relatively low-budget AMC show.
Right.
So they just quickly kill off 70 people. But we're not expected to think that the main characters will like, man, that's just how hardcore, like how hard life is after the zompocalypse. No, it's because you people all suck at your jobs. These people wouldn't be dead if you were at all in any way competent at the one job you have, keeping people alive.
Right.
So right, so all the zombies they and then it turns out that it was caused by the fact that there's a bad illness going through the building, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's getting sick in this cell block. And here's job one. And because they know that people could die at any time and come back as a zombie anytime, here's a rule I have if you live in that situation. And I think it's a rule everyone should live by if you're in a situation where anyone could die at night, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll come back as a zombie. Whenever you go to sleep, and especially if you're in quarantine ward of a hospital and you all have a lung infection, which is what has happened, right?
Right.
Here's my... And again, I'm not living in a zompocalypse, so I don't have to think of this stuff. This is just me casually looking at the situation. These people, A, they live in a zombie apocalypse. B, they have a lot of free time. They don't have jobs.
They're the ones who should be thinking about this.
They have nothing to do but go and think about this stuff all day long. Mm-hmm. So here's what I came up with. A person who was busy and has a job while he's watching this show.
Right.
So maybe every time you go to sleep, tie your ankle to a bed or a wall or something with a very easy to untie knot.
Mm-hmm. There's an idea.
That way, if you get up and you have to get somewhere fast, you just pull two ropes, the knot comes untied.
Yeah.
Because it's an easy to untie knot. But if you become a zombie, you're trapped because zombies don't know what knots are.
Exactly, yeah.
Zombies don't even have the intellect to know that the rope is the thing that's trapping them and try to bite through the rope. They're zombies. They can't think of that. So now, it took me 8 seconds to solve every problem they get into with zombies inside the prison, and yet nothing ever occurs to them for how they could deal with this.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
It's ridiculous. I mean, they could put themselves inside one of the cells if...
Oh, no,
I guess you can't lock from the inside. I was going to say...
mechanical locks.
In my head, I'm thinking of these as being, old-time chain cells. Yeah, they're not. Okay, yeah. I was going to say if they left keys in there with them, but they don't have keys.
It's not that kind of locking cell. And that's why my solution with the chaining yourself down is such an elegant solution. Yeah. Because all of you are free to escape at any moment with no trouble, but if you become a zombie, you were 100% incapacitated.
Yeah.
What could be better than that? Isn't that a perfect solution? And it took me 8 seconds to figure it out.
Yeah.
Also, every time zombies hoard up on the place, right? They don't know, what are we going to do about these zombies who have hoarded up on the place? Mm-hmm. Well, you know that zombies are attracted to noise and light and things like that. So it's not hard to distract a zombie.
Yeah.
Right? So here's my solution. Just get some fireworks. Every time zombies hoard up on a place, take a lighted firework, use a slingshot to throw it well behind the zombies. It'll go off. They'll all turn around and start walking towards it. And then when it stops, they'll just keep walking in that direction.
Yeah.
Because zombies don't remember that there was a prison in the other direction.
No.
You literally need some cherry bombs and a slingshot, and there will never be a problem with zombies piling up on your walls.
Yeah.
But again, this never seems to occur to anyone. Hilariously, it occurs to a group of cannibals.
Right.
Who tell the group that this is what they do, but the characters never say, you know what those cannibals did? That was a good idea. Let's take that on board. They
never adopt that particular strategy.
Even after learning about it. They learned that if you and this is kind of an insane thing from the show. In the first season, they learned that zombies navigate primarily by smell.
Okay.
Which is a crazy thing for the show to suggest, because it's wouldn't the smell of the fact that they are rotting zombies overpower any other smells? How can they smell anything but their own flesh? But
Right.
anyway, let's say, and this is how stupid the show is, and the comic book too. This is from the comic book. So they like, if they cover themselves in zombie guts, they can just walk around through zombies,
Right.
and there's no trouble. The zombies will never notice them. But in the first season, funny story, they then, while they're doing this, it starts to rain, and they're like, panic! The zombie guts are going to wash off us, and the zombies are going to know where we are!
Yeah.
Because it's raining!
Right.
Like, first off, just having some water from the sky fallen on a guy who's covered in rotting viscera,
Yeah.
it's not going to make that smell go away anytime soon.
No, it's not going to easily come off. Yeah.
But more importantly, smell doesn't work in the rain.
No. Yeah, it would be completely suppressed by the
sense of
scent of the rain.
smell doesn't work in the rain. That's why you can't. That's why bloodhounds and such can't track people during the rain.
Yeah, because it's weighing down the particles in the air. It's like the water is washing down.
Exactly. Yeah. The little particles of moisture with your smell in it that get left everywhere are so overpowered by the falling rain kicking everything around that dogs can't find them. And I'm going to assume bloodhounds have better noses than zombies.
Yeah.
I would suggest that there is a likelihood that they have better than zombies. So I just like to say that no, but anyway, so, and this is what the point I'm trying to make. So they figure this out like 4 episodes into the first season.
Right.
And then across the entire rest of the first season and second season and third season, fourth season and fifth season, no one ever covers themselves with zombie guts to camouflage themselves, no matter how dangerous the thing and zombie filled the thing they're going to do is.
So it's the same kind of logic of cartoon Skeletor-like supervillains. Like they would try like some kind of, crazy new, I've made a death robot and it's going to get He-Man or something, right? Yeah. And then He-Man would successfully somehow manage to defeat the death robot, and then he doesn't try to make more.
Repair the death robot.
Yeah, like it'd be like that one isn't being marketed as a toy. It'll never come back again. We don't want to pay the writer who came up with it more money or whatever the reason is, right? It's like stuff never comes back again that they've learned, is what you're saying.
Yes, except here there's no reason for it, because as I said, the two things they've learned is you can just turn zombies. A, zombies have no idea if you're covered with zombie flesh that you're not a zombie. That's A. Right. B, with fireworks, you can make an entire horde of zombies go wherever you want them to.
Right. So this is really a show about people who don't really want to fix the problem. Like, they don't want civilization to come back. Like, they could start applying things. They'd be like, hey, how about we do this and then keep doing this? And then in time, and it'll become... Because they don't want to write a show about what would actually happen, which is eventually we'd solve the problem and learn how to live with it.
Relatively quickly.
Yeah, we'd be living in walled cities, and we'd, have, various precautions for when people die and things like that.
Yeah, honestly, we wouldn't even need walled cities that long, because after a couple of years, there wouldn't be any zombies left.
Exactly. We just have proper, precautions for dealing with living in a world where people come back to life.
For example, you chain your ankle to your bed. Like, you just get a Velcro strap, you wrap it around your ankle every night before you go to bed.
Yeah, we'd rope everyone, and then when someone died, they'd be like, oh, it's sad. And instead of coming in the room and finding that, Grandpa passed away, you'd instead find that he's become a zombie.
You're like, we got to shoot him in the head.
Have to kill and cremate him, and we'd accept that as one of the sad facts of life, like death in general.
Yeah, like, we're already sad about death, now we're also sad about having to shoot him in the head. I'm not saying we would get there overnight, but in a couple of years, society would adapt.
Yeah, and this is the world that we live in. But they don't want the show to be about that, because the hook of the show is it's about a bunch of people running around a zombie-apocalypse.
And honestly, it's a show that is the worst aspects of George Romero's 70s nihilism, and believing that humans are the real problem, and under any stressful situation, humans will instantly start turning on each other and all turn into animals. Yeah. When history has shown that in every situation, humans always all band together and fix things. Yeah,
like pretty much you'd have to have some constant new injection of instability and chaos constantly happening. And
even then, who knows? Yeah. I'm just saying, when we were down to 2,000 humans during the near extinction genetic bottleneck,
right? People survived.
Humans still all bound together.
Yeah, like you might have a bad society even,
Yeah.
right? Like you'd have like, but you'd still have a society, right? Like
Yeah.
you could have a society where like, oh, it's a dictatorship or something, right? But it would still be more of a society than the crap that goes on with them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And I mean, they've made a couple of hints on the show. It's like, oh, well, guys put together societies, but then they do it, but then they accomplish things by killing other survivors and stealing their stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but that anyone can see that that is not a long-term
No, it's not a
survival.
sustainable model, and anyone who'd be involved in that would be at least planning towards what happens when I run out of all the people I'm stealing from, right?
Yeah, and it's like the biggest threat is Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's like, I run a whole society of guys with guns, and I go around and I make them everybody give me half their stuff,
Mhm.
and they get, and then that way we can just be guys with guns who don't,
Have to work.
who have to. Well, no, I mean it's
Yeah.
a lot of work being
That's
200
right. You don't have to
guys
do
with
other
guns.
work other than robbing people or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
But the
Okay.
point
Yeah.
is, like 200 guys with guns, the amount of food it would take to steal to do that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
To be 200 guys with guns, like the amount of food it would take to maintain that, it's not sustainable
Well, yeah. At some
to
point,
steal from people.
the 200 guys with guns, even if they didn't want to share their having guns power with the other people, would realize that they need the other people to provide them with like a continuous flow of sustenance, and so the protection of those people would become important to them. And they'd be like, okay, you'll be our serfs, and we'll be like knights or something, and
Yeah, and
we'll protect you from zombies, so we can keep taking some food from you.
but the thing is, they like, we want half of all of your guns and all of your food every month. I'm like, yeah, but that's not, the people you're taking that from aren't going to survive.
No, exactly, and so you can't.
And by the time, like, you'll starve them to death and you'll make them get killed because they're prioritizing scavenging for you, and now you're going to be out of people to steal from.
So I take on the show animals do not become
Zombies, no,
right?
No, they don't.
Just people.
Just people.
Okay.
Just people. And
Yeah,
zombies like to eat animals, which I'm like, they seem to suggest that zombies would be weirdly good at killing wildlife because they don't see a lot of wildlife around. I'm like,
Yeah.
how's a zombie going to catch a deer?
Yeah, that's a good point. They're how fast are the zombies on Walking Dead?
It's all George Romero rules.
Okay, so they are just slow-moving zombies.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
And actually, when they become really desiccated, they essentially become walking skeletons who can't move at all, which leads to, and of course, you can't find an actor that thin.
No.
So there's always great scenes of like, of the actors having like a stagehand off screen pushing a dummy at them, and they have to pretend to fight a dummy.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
It's
awesome.
pretty funny to watch.
It's like Ash being attacked by like skeletons that are just being thrown at him,
being
like
thrown at him, and he picks them up and he breaks them over his knee. It's that kind of funny.
Awesome.
Although also they act like the zombies would still be strong when they're desiccated wrecks, and I'm like, no, they would not still be strong.
Where is their musculature to be strong?
You need muscles to be strong. That doesn't.
Has The Walking Dead ever explained why there are zombies? Like, is there like a causal factor?
There's no explanation.
Okay.
We have to assume a meteorite.
Yeah, something
space
like that.
radiation, like in the
original
Night of the Living Dead. All right, so here's the crazy part. So as I've said, like if these people learned lessons from what happened in their lives, literally whenever a bunch of zombies showed up anywhere, they would put on a poncho made of zombie guts. They would walk out the doors of their house. They would carry a cherry bomb. They would throw that cherry bomb as far as they could. Then all the zombies would just walk towards it, and then zombie problem solved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be it.
That's all it would ever take.
There's your bat anti-shark repellent for zombies.
Yet none of these characters can figure this out for more than more than 1 second at a time.
So I guess that the real lesson here is you can't really make a long-running serialized show about a zombie-apocalypse that really makes sense, because it would, if it was a logical show, it would cease to be set in the very world that they want it to be set in.
Yeah. Like zombies.
Yeah. Unless you just made it about different stupid people who died. It's like, this week's episode, it was a thing that happened and went on for about 2 months until we fixed it. And here's different adventures of different people
during that 2-month period.
Darwin awarded out or whatever during that time.
All right, so here's where it gets really bad. And this is the part that kind of blew my mind. So the important thing is there are 16 episodes in a season of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Okay, that's key. And in that season of The Walking Dead, the newest season, so Rick, the main character, who I want to stress, based on what I've said, constantly makes bad decisions and gets everyone killed.
Okay. Good.
Just always, like he's always making the bad decisions, getting everybody killed. That's his jam.
Right.
To use, the hip lingo of the kids. His jam is making stupid decisions and getting everyone killed.
Okay.
All right. So here's what happens. Wow, this game crashes a lot. I don't know what's wrong with the Dark Souls internet right now, but it keeps crashing out on me. I'm not going to stop trying to play because I'm enjoying talking about The Walking Dead, but
Right.
yeah, it's bad. All right. So at the beginning of the season, he's taken over this town. He's like, "You guys need to be orderly." And here's how bad this town is. So it's a town, and they've put up walls around the town, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so big metal walls with rebar like between them. So they're super tough. They're super resistant. Zombies will never get through them. But you know how when you're just building a freestanding wall, you can either dig it like 10 feet into the ground, or you can put up a triangular brace to keep it in place, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they've used triangular braces because they didn't want to go to the trouble of digging it 10 feet in the ground. Obviously, 10 feet in the ground would have been a way smarter move, but for whatever reason, they didn't have the time or money to do that. Well, time or resources to do that. So they put up triangular braces to keep the wall standing. Can you guess where the triangular braces are?
Are they on the side of the wall that the zombies will be coming at?
They are on the outside of the wall.
Why?
Because everyone in this world is an idiot. Even Rick isn't the only idiot. Everyone's a moron. They built the triangular braces so you can't even see if one of the braces is getting weak. And if you if you manage to somehow miraculously see that it's getting weak, you can't even go out to fix it because there are zombies everywhere.
And they... so...
You honestly couldn't believe what I was saying when I said that, could you?
That's insane. That's just terrible writing.
It's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense that you would do that. Even like the convenience of the process of building it, you would be like doing it on the. You'd build the wall and you
to put the braces on the.
Yeah,
inside.
You'd be putting the braces. You'd be like, oh, now we've built a fence. We better make sure that fence has braces.
Yep. So you'd anchor the braces to the ground. You'd bolt the braces
on
to
the
wall,
inside where you're still more protected.
Inside where you are.
Yeah.
Not on the outside where you have to deal with zombies. God. It's a nightmare. But that is a serious thing that really happened on this show. And not just once or twice. But here's the thing. The characters on this show are well aware, and the people who own this town, they go out and they scout out to see who might be worthy enough to join their town, because they know there are scary people everywhere who just rob people and kill people, right? But the top of the wall isn't covered in razor wire or spikes.
So they don't do anything to
glass.
keep out bad people, non-zombie people either.
No, nothing. They take zero effort to keep out bad people or non-zombie people.
The thing is, though, this was so upsetting, is like, any dumbass can think of this. Like, you and I aren't survivalists.
No, but I mean,
you can say this is stupid.
What are you worried about? I'm worried about obviously zombies. Yes, okay, I'll build you a big wall. I'm also worried about Mad Max style war boys. Well then on top of the wall, I'm gonna put some concertina wire. As I've seen from movies, war boys do not do great against concertina wire.
Exactly, that's all you have to do.
That's literally all you have to do. How are they going to find concertina wire? Go to a hardware store?
Yeah. Because it's not like this is set in a world...
store?
Yeah.
They found frigging solar panel equipment.
Yeah.
How hard could it possibly be to find some barbed wire?
This isn't set in a world where like an atomic bomb was dropped on a city. And the thing is, here's the problem with any counter arguments. Any counter arguments would be something like this.
They're in rural Virginia.
Counter arguments will be
country. Someone
else went and did it already. Okay, well, where's their successful city then? If someone else went and raided all the stores and took all that stuff, which I'm sure is not the argument they made anyway.
No, they are not making the argument that some genius went and stole 18 tons of razor wire from all of the farm supply stores in Virginia. That is 100% not the message of the show. Oh my god, but it's not even hard to do this. All right, so here's and this is my big argument about why the 6th season, every season of The Walking Dead has been bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the 6th season might be the worst season, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So in the first episode of the season, Rick has just taken over this town, because things can only get better once he's in charge.
Of course.
You know, the guy who makes stupid decisions and gets everybody killed.
Right.
Now, yes, is it true that the characters in this town were all going to get killed by raiders at some point because they were such idiots they built a wall backwards and didn't cover it in spikes? Yes. Okay, obviously this was going to go badly for them, but if their characters weren't, like, ludicrous idiots, like, Rick would not needed to show up. And by the way, Rick doesn't solve any of those problems I just talked about.
Right.
That's all my observation. And even after murderers come and kill 50% of the people of the town just by stabbing them to death, when the war boys show up and stab 50% of the town to death,
right?
Because they don't even have guns. They're just people who climbed over a wall and started stabbing.
Oh man.
And that's how poorly prepared this town was. Even after that, no one says, "Hey, maybe we get some barbed wire up there."
Right.
Like, that doesn't even occur to them then.
They never learn.
All right, but here's the really bad situation. Now, because I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you the situation Rick is confronted with in the first episode of season 6, and then I'm going to ask you what your solution for that problem might have been.
Okay.
All right, so they happen upon a quarry.
Okay.
With 5,000 zombies in it.
Okay.
Which is a lot of zombies.
It is.
No one is denying that. That is not the point I'm going to make. I'm not going to say this is a trivial problem. There are 2 roads leading into the quarry, in and out of the quarry. And the zombies have been trapped there by people putting trucks at the top of the quarry, like big 18-wheeler trucks at the top of the quarries.
Okay.
So they can't get out, and I have to assume, they try to say that, I guess more would have just fallen into the quarry. Well, gee, Rick, any zombies that had fallen into the quarry drawn by their loud groaning. In fact, this is a good solution because the show seems to think that, don't you get it? The loud groaning is drawing more zombies in, and it's just going to become a bigger and bigger threat. Well, fact is, any zombies that the loud groaning attracts are going to fall over a cliff into the quarry and not going to be a problem anymore.
No.
Even if
they'll break their zombie legs, right?
Even if somehow their brains aren't destroyed,
right,
all of their limbs will be shattered.
Right.
That is not an issue.
So is there meant to be some issue that in time, and I assume it would take a long time, enough zombies will fall into this quarry that the quarry will just become level with the ground?
No. That would be hilarious. But that would take 18 million zombies.
Yeah, it would take like
that
a hell of a long time.
every zombie in America.
Like it's a deep quarry, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's deep enough that it is quite a precipice that these zombies are falling down.
Right.
To the point where I am 100% sure that any zombie attracted by their groaning is 100% dead.
Yeah, it's like over 5 stories or something.
I would say it's like 50 feet deep, 100%, 50 feet deep.
Okay.
So, but the reason they're concerned is that, one of the trucks is parked not right at the top of the quarry where it would be safe, but actually on the incline of one of the roads. Okay. And of course, those roads are just packed earth. And so as it continues to rain, eventually the road will wear down that the truck might fall away. Okay. Revealing various zombies.
Okay, and these trucks are parked lengthwise, right? Like covering the whole road,
they're parked not horizontally. They're parked vertically along the road. So, but I mean, the roads aren't wide enough that the zombie could walk past a truck.
Okay, yeah. And what about the prospect of them climbing under a truck and the zombies crawl under the?
Apparently, the grill of the trucks are low enough that no, they cannot.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, so they actually, the people who set up this trap in the first place, and nobody knows who did it, obviously did that. But I like that the show seems to think that a horde was trapped in there, and then their groans attracted more, and now it's a really terrifying amount. But again, as I've established through my statement here, any zombie attracted by their groaning would not be a threat.
No, yeah.
The show's too dumb to know that, so whatever.
Right. Okay.
So that is the situation Rick's group finds themselves in,
Yes.
there is a hole filled with 4,000 zombies.
Yes.
And trucks are blocking the entrance, but in an X amount of time, where X is an unknowable amount, could be sooner,
Yes.
could be later, but probably sooner,
Mhm.
one of the trucks is going to fall away. The
Yes.
zombies will wander up the hill, and the road they wander up is going to lead them towards Rick's town.
Yes. Okay.
So, how would you deal with those zombies?
Well, there's a whole host of things that one could do.
First off the
And
top of
it
your head.
depends. Like, you could burn them all, I suppose, if you had access to gasoline and sprayed it down into the pit. Like, if you could get kind of a wide enough spray. I don't know what they have access to here, but like, do they have access to trucks and hoses and things like that?
First off,
Gasoline.
they do, but
Okay. You
and
could
I-
attempt to burn them. You could attempt to fill it full of cement, I
well,
suppose.
no,
But again, you need
it's
water
way
for
too
that.
big. It's way too big to fill.
I suppose the best
What?
bet would just be to try to assure that the blockages remain, or you could build some new blockages instead of trucks or
Okay,
whatever.
so your two good options are A,
Yeah,
build way better walls around it.
that's right. Yeah,
So the zombies, even if the truck went away, the zombies will never get through the
yeah. You could even build a wall around the entire quarry instead
No,
of
you
just
wouldn't
at the top.
no, but you wouldn't want to do that because remember the
More zombies are being
yelling.
drawn in. Okay, so we're to assume that he was correct about more zombies being drawn in and
Oh, no,
falling into the
honestly,
pit. Right?
we actually see zombies running towards.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were contesting that for a moment.
No.
Yeah. You'd want to
What
leave that open.
contesting was not that zombies are still going in. It's that any zombie attracted by the groaning would continue to be a threat. Is what I was contesting.
Okay.
They seem to think that this is bad because there could be more zombies.
Yeah,
there.
you'd
no,
want to leave that
they're
pit open.
definitely
You'd want zombies to fall into the pit still, so you'd still want the obstructions keeping them from exiting the pit.
Yeah.
So you would either reinforce what was there or build
just
something
build
new.
a frigging wall with a mountain of dirt behind it, and the
Yeah.
zombies will never get through.
Yeah, and I suppose you could even do things like occasionally. I don't know how safe it is for them to go out to this pit and regularly check
It
it.
is very safe.
Okay, well, yeah, you could go out and have people throw large stones down on the zombies to kill them
No,
if
but
you
here's
wanted.
the thing. I'm going to point something out
Yeah.
that the show does not point out
Okay.
during the sequence. So you said if you could, it might be risky, but maybe if you could throw gas on the entire area with a sprayer, you might be able
Yeah.
to get all the zombies.
Sure.
Here's something in the world of the show. Remember
Mhm.
how I said they were attracted to sound and noise?
Yes.
If you were to go at night and
Yeah.
you take, say, 5-gallon canisters of gasoline,
Yes.
throw them down and set it on fire, you
Mhm.
would create a giant bonfire.
Yeah, and that would attract zombies according to the logic of the
And
show.
that would attract zombies,
Would fall into a flaming pit.
who would fall into the flaming pit, and they would get set on fire, which would create a bigger fire, attracting more zombies and more zombies and more zombies, and before you know it, all of the zombies would have burned yourself to death. You might have to do it over a few days,
Mhm.
over a few days, always at night, and throwing gasoline into different parts of the quarry, but I think it's safe to say that within 5 days, you could probably kill the vast majority of those zombies.
Yeah, it would be like a giant bug zapper principle of some kind.
That's exactly what it would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
It would be the ultimate zombie zapper. And I think, and you'll notice that burning them is literally the first idea you had.
Yeah, it seems to make
And
sense.
the second
given that we know
idea
the zombies.
was create impenetrable blockades at the top of the hills.
Yeah, so these are the two most logical things that even a simpleton like me would go to pretty much right away. So what do
Are
they
you
do?
ready to find out what Rick's plan is?
We're gonna go live in the pit.
Oh God, if
We're
only.
gonna get in the tents. We're moving into the quarry.
Here is Rick's plan.
Yeah.
Ahem. Get yourself a 100. Get yourself like 100 cars
Okay.
and line them up on either side of the road, 50 deep, because there's the road that leads to the quarry,
Yes.
right? It T-bones at the rural route,
Okay.
right? At a few hundred yards,
Okay.
and maybe even farther, because they use a lot of cars for what I'm about to say.
Okay.
So maybe let's say it lasts a kilometer. So imagine how many cars they had to use
Okay.
to direct them. You create 2 lines of cars. You open up one of the paths. You make a lot of noise. You get to all of the zombies to walk up one of the roads towards you,
Yes.
and you slowly lure them down that path, and then you get to the T-bone junction where the zombies might choose to go straight, might choose to go left or right, and you create a bend in it so all of the zombies walk away from your town instead of towards your town. So this requires you to build a giant impenetrable wall, which again, you could have just built at the quarry.
So he released them from the quarry?
Yes. Again, now, part of his plan involves building an impenetrable anti-zombie wall, which he could have just done at the quarry. And then the rest of the plan involves luring them and sending them out towards some other poor bastards.
Yeah.
But it gets worse. While they're and this plan takes 2 weeks to set up, and imagine the amount of gasoline it takes to find, fuel all those cars, drive all those cars into this perfect line. It takes 2 weeks to set up, wastes huge amount of gas, requires all of their people to work on it, and then when they're actually doing the plan, the fact that 30 people are out doing this plan makes the villains think they're probably weak enough at home to run in and attack the place.
Right.
And the attack on the place makes so much noise that half of the zombies come running towards the town anyway.
Wow.
It gets worse. So
Okay.
the plan to deal with the zombie quarry started in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
It is not fully dealt with until episode 9 of a 16 episode season. Would you like to hear how they deal with the zombies in the end?
How?
The zombies have completely overrun their town. Like, every square inch of their town is covered in zombies, because it's half of the zombies, so there are 2,000 zombies. One of the characters takes a gasoline tanker, drives to the reflecting pond in the middle of town,
Okay.
opens it up, fills it with gasoline, and lights it on fire so that all of the zombies will run towards it, burning themselves to death.
So what they could have done from the very beginning.
The thing they should have done from the very beginning, instead of doing that, they come up with a ludicrous plan that could never work and is going to get everyone killed. And it doesn't work and gets everyone killed. And at the end,
they do a
just end up
crappy
killing
version
them
of that
anyway.
plan.
They
And so
just
if that
do a worse version of my plan of our plan, the plan that any human being would come up with in 8 seconds.
So okay, sorry, this is hard to process. Is this show on its 6th season, or are you just at the 6th season?
No, I am now caught up.
Okay, so you're fully caught up.
Yeah.
So in this world, it's easily understood then that you can just light fires and they will walk into them.
Yes.
Like they will just conquer. And that's not being done all the time in an organized manner?
Nope.
Because it's like, people laugh at, like, oh, Dracula can be killed by garlic and a stake through the heart and holy water and the Wolfman by a silver bullet, but zombies are clearly, like, inferior to a normal human enemy.
Not only to any animal that has ever lived.
Yeah, you just set fires and then they will walk to it. They're morons.
They are complete... But they will walk towards any sound. As long as the fire is noisy, like, even if they're blind, if the fire is noisy, they will walk into the fire.
So, like, somebody could just put, set a pit on fire and have hundreds of pits that are just set on fire that don't even need gasoline, that you could just throw flaming sticks into.
You make a circle of pits, right, that are on fire. You start a loud boombox, and zombies will just come walking out of the woods and just fall into the fire pits.
Yeah.
And in a short amount of time, you will have killed every zombie.
Yeah.
And yet, the easy solution to Rick's problem that you and I came up with each in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Instead, they come up with a ludicrous 8-step plan to use all of their resources on something that won't work.
Are the people who write the show dumb, or do they just know that they can't have the characters be too competent? Like, do you think, like, that's, like, a thing that they tell you when you go into the writing room on the show? They're like, listen, see, one of the rules of this show is that characters can't be too competent. Like, Or do they have a hiring policy that they only hire dumb people? Like,
I honestly don't know.
how does this happen?
Well, it's tough. Like, it's tough to say.
Yeah.
I honestly have no idea how a show can be as badly written as The Walking Dead is.
You could have this show work if it was like a hilarious comedy show about like two Dumb and Dumber style morons, like trying to
survive
make
the
their
zombie
way.
apocalypse and just making things worse all the time.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Like, when I told you that
Mhm.
this was going to be like a story where you wouldn't believe how stupid all the characters were,
Yeah.
you didn't think it was going to be that dumb, did you?
No, I didn't think it was going to be that stupid. I always have this like twinging fear because I don't have a lot of respect for my own intellect. But in the back of my head, when you ask me questions like, "Well, what would you do?" that it's really going to be like this like clever trap, like one of those escapo rooms that were so popular in recent times, or something. And I'd be like, "I don't know," and you'd be like, "You have a piece of string and some knitting needles and a chicken."
How are you going to climb this bridge?
Yeah, you are inside. There's a fox and a chicken and some seed, and you have to go across the boat. And I was thinking it was going to be something, but it never is.
Nope, it never is.
It's like the character hit himself in the head with a large mallet is how he attempted to solve the problem of zombies. It'd be a nice reveal in this show.
Yeah.
If and I'm sure it can't be because I'm sure by now they'll have like tried to go to like a major city. Like I did that. Has that happened yet? Like
they've got to Atlanta a bunch.
It's too bad because I'd like it if like the reveal of the show is like the problem of zombies was like solved within like 3 weeks of zombies happening,
and all of these people hiding out in the rural areas are just making stuff bad for themselves.
Yeah, it's like Dave Foley's the wrong guy,
and
they're hiding out and they think like the zombie problem is still rolling. And they'd be like, "Oh my god, zombies!" And it just turns out there's like now like an X-zone wasteland that's been cordoned off.
And that's where they're living.
They're living in it, and they didn't get out because they're dumb.
Oh god, if only. But spoiler alert, like, I don't think zombies would survive winter.
No, I don't think so.
Like, them completely freezing and then thawing out, I don't think that's going to be good for zombies.
That leads me to another quick question. So on this show, they don't call them zombies. They pretentiously call them walkers, right?
Or roamers, or biters, or everybody's got their own little name for them.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they do acknowledge that people wouldn't, like, universally have been able to... There's society left, so they can't,
Yeah. They don't have TV left.
So the dictionary hasn't...
They don't know what to call them.
Yeah, okay, so... I feel that, like, calling zombies walkers is, like, a crap thing I've been hearing a lot somewhat lately, but I feel like I was hearing it before this show was popular.
Well, no, what happened was, and this is, what's fascinating about The Walking Dead and the refusal to call them zombies, is because there was this brief trend in the early 2000s for people who were, for writers and producers who thought they were cool and above it, to be like, our monsters are different. We're not going to call them Thing X. We're going to call them this cooler name.
Yeah, even with non-zombie things like lichens.
Well, no, and the biggest example of this is the the movie, well, it feels like a pilot for a TV show is why I call it that. The movie Underworld, which is like, I am a death dealer, and I battle lichens. You mean you're a vampire who fights werewolves? And you're trying to pretend this is a legitimate movie by not saying the words vampire or werewolf.
Yeah.
And that is what it was. And the thing is, and when Robert Kirkman created this show, it was at created the comic book. It was at the very height of pretension being the default mode.
Right.
And as a consequence, like, he decided he was I'm only ever going to call them walkers.
Right.
Get it? I'm so much better than people who, call them what they are.
Now, did you also tell me that in the world of this series, there was never such a thing as zombie movies?
Yeah, that's what he has claimed.
Okay, so at the very least, we can say.
Yeah, so it's not set in the real world. It's set in a ridiculous alternate dimension where there's no such thing as a zombie movie. Yeah,
because like as stupid as this show is, and it still doesn't absolve it of any of its stupidity. Everything from not calling them zombies to I'm not going to say it in any way justifies their incompetence, just because people haven't seen zombie movies and therefore they don't know how to adapt and do what people did in zombie movies to survive or something like that. That's not the excuse, but had there been zombies, people would have just called these things zombies.
Yes, because the thing is, George Romero isn't calling them zombies.
No.
He's calling them ghouls.
Yes.
Because the mythological character they most resemble is a ghoul.
Yeah, thing from
a
death,
thing
yeah.
that eats corpses,
Hmm.
like a flesh-eating monster.
Yes.
That's why, it's when he was first starting it in the script, he only calls them ghouls, and the
Yeah.
characters call them ghouls. Like, he's
Yeah.
really open with the use of the term ghoul. But then
Hmm.
people are like, oh, all those movies about zombies where guys walk around with their arms pointed, and blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
because they were thinking of the hypno voodoo zombies.
Yeah, voodoo zombies.
Yeah.
These creatures walk a lot like voodoo zombies, and
Yeah.
that's how they decided to start calling them zombies.
Right.
But no, like George A. Romero was 100% clear that these are ghouls,
Yes.
and that the monster they're most similar to is the EC Comics interpretation of a ghoul.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course, ghouls tended to be a little faster and have more intellect,
Mhm.
but it all balanced out.
Exactly.
The thing is, a kid growing up in the 50s on EC Comics would see these things,
Be like, hey,
and
look,
who had both seen movies like about Haitian zombies
Mhm.
and read EC Comics would look at these creatures, and the thing he would most associate them with is a ghoul.
Yes.
But the fact is, more people in the culture
Mhm.
have seen movies about voodoo zombies than read
Yeah.
EC Comics.
And started
So-
saying zombies.
So zombie caught on. Zombies more fun to say. You put those two things together, and yeah, of course they're zombies.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
Mhm.
But even people in this world, you have to imagine that not only has there never been George Romero style zombie movies in this
Yeah.
world, but also there's no such thing as African voodoo zombies in fiction.
Right.
Because looking at these things, you would still see them and you'd think, wow, those are like African voodoo zombies from fiction.
Right. Right.
That is absolutely what you would think.
Right. Because they're not all rotting corpses either, right? They're
No, some of
them
them
just
are
look like
recently
freshly
dead,
dead
and they
people.
just walk around and go, oh, and stretch their arm out like they're in Frankenstein.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's just the show is inherited
Yeah.
the pretentiousness of the time in which it was created.
But yeah, when the
And-
original idea was
yeah.
conceived, yeah.
Yeah, and so they'll just never go back on that because it's inherited pretentiousness.
Right. I was going to say, do you think there's any influence of White Walkers as a term, like when he came up with walkers, or do you think that's just
You
coincidental?
know what? I mean, maybe. Like, he's definitely a nerd.
Yeah.
Like, Robert Kirkman is definitely the kind of guy who reads Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
like back when it was a book.
Right.
Like, he's that type of dude.
Mhm.
So I would suggest that in all likelihood that could have existed inside his head when he was creating the show. But
Yeah.
then again, it literally could just be a derivation of, Walking Dead is a popular way of describing zombies.
Yeah, that's true.
Ever
Calling
since
them
Day
the
of the
Walking.
Dead had the famous headline, "The Dead Walk."
Yeah. I suppose that's
Now,
true.
Walking Dead has been used interchangeably with zombies for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to say. I know. The Walking Dead. You're not good. But I'm glad to see that you agree with me and that it is as terrible as I think it is.
Well, based on those things, unless it has like a whole bunch of incredibly powerful redeeming qualities that I'm aware of, then yeah, it doesn't sound great to me, despite its popularity.
It's huge, omnipresent, crushing popularity.
And as you said, I think just when it was relatively new, I remember you pointing out that it's like a lot of these things exist, and then they're cloaked in this kind of like pretentious sort of pseudo-intellectual vibe that people get to feel good about themselves while still being able to enjoy zombies. Like, it's like they don't have to feel ashamed of their maturity level while enjoying zombies. Just like how I think what was it, True Blood? I think you said that gives people that feeling for vampires.
Yeah.
I think it was True Blood anyway.
Oh no, it was, because it's like, oh, don't you get it? It's just a porn show about vampires.
Right.
But really, it's all about the characters and the situation, man. There's a lot going on here. So they get to pretend that they're intellectually engaging with pornography about vampires.
Yeah, like at least Alyssa Milano's
Vampire pornography.
what was her movie called? The Vampire's Kiss?
No, Vampire's Kiss is...
Vampire's Kiss is the Nicolas Cage one.
Vampire's Embrace, maybe?
Yeah, maybe it was the Vampire's Embrace.
Like, at least it had the guts to just be vam porn.
Yeah, exactly. It was just...
Also, I'm glad I got to say vam porn.
Yeah, I too am glad you got to say that.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
why can't we just be honest? Is what.
Why can't we just be honest?
Yeah, like, why can't there just be a show about people who go around killing zombies with shotguns, and it doesn't try to be some sort of deep thing about society, man, or whatever, and then we can maybe enjoy. Well, I guess someone could say that that's sort of kind of what Ash versus The Walking Dead is, and it's fun.
Well, no, and I mean, like, all of these...
Or versus The Evil Dead, excuse me, I'm getting my wires
like,
crossed.
say what you will about... now, by comparison, it's like... how do I put this? They've been, the world has been zombied now for a few years.
Yeah.
But all of these raiders are still acting like Lord Humongous.
Yes.
Instead of acting like, oh god, how am I blanking on his name? This is so bad.
The guy from the most recent Nightmare. Immortan Joe.
Immortan Joe, or Anti-Entity.
Society of sorts, yeah.
Yeah, because even the new guy, played by Jeffrey Morgan, isn't building a good society. He's still he's still trying to rule based on the threat of shooting people if they don't give him all of their stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like, he is not building a sustainable model.
Yeah, he hasn't tried.
Seriously, within this show, there is a group of cannibals whose entire plan for survival is to put up a bunch of signs saying, "We will rescue you if you come here," and then when people get there, they eat them.
Yeah.
Like, but how long do you think realistically you're going to be able to do that?
Yeah, it doesn't.
3 months? 6 months? You're going to run out of people fast, and your ability to accomplish this is entirely based on the fact that you have a walled compound full of guys with assault rifles.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. General Butt Naked stopped being General Butt Naked.
Yeah, he relatively quickly found out that this is not a sustainable model.
Yeah, so it's like, in real life, this is what happens, is, these things run their course.
I would say pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and wow, and I mean, honestly, it's badly written in a number of ways, but I think I've hit on the big ones.
Yeah, so I guess if we've learned anything today, that it's do play video games about zombie nights.
Yep.
Don't watch video games, TV shows. Yeah, The Walking Dead about zombie
apocalypses.
Apocalypses, yes.
Although, if you're planning on playing a video game about a zombie night, hopefully they will have gotten the server issues fixed and it will not crash every 2 minutes.
Yeah, that would be
that would be for the best, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so Night Dog, is there anything you would like to encourage people to check out of yours?
You know what? I don't yet have something up and running that I was going to mention. I won't mention it yet. We'll save that for another time.
We're working on those videos.
Encourage people to go visit the town of Niagara Falls, Canada. I just recently had the pleasure, and boy, oh boy, that's some fun. That's a lot of haunted houses.
It is the best tourist town in Canada, I would say.
It is. There's a giant statue of Frankenstein eating a burger. That's the only endorsement I should need to give. Oh, and there's some falls as well. There's some falls, too.
And they're not garbage like the American falls.
No, we have a great view.
You can actually see the falls from the Canadian side.
Yeah. I didn't want to go too near because since being a child, since being a child,
you are correctly afraid of Niagara Falls, the waterfall that almost killed Lois Lane that time.
Exactly, you knew exactly where I was going. That's right. Yeah, the Superman 2 moment. So yeah, scared of that thing.
Yeah. As well you should be.
Yeah.
All right. For me, like and subscribe to the video. We're almost at 20 subscribers.
Woo!
Tell your friends.
It's in the double digits, so that's good.
Yeah.
The brand is growing.
Well, we're already in the double digits, so that's good. And hey, should I do one of those? When I hit 20 subscribers, I should do one of those videos saying, thanks to my subscribers for getting me up to 20 subscribers. You know how people do videos when they're like, I just hit 500,000 views. Yes. You guys rock and are the best, and you're the reason I'm doing this.
If there was time, you should do one anytime a new subscriber.
Honestly, if I had the time, I'd be like, 23 subscribers? Oh my god, I can't believe how great you guys are. Now I'm insulting the people who are well, I'm not really insulting them. I'm insulting YouTube culture.
I think that's what it really is, yeah.
But I honestly think maybe, like, if we hit 20 subscribers, I'd be like, hey everybody, thanks for making this the most popular hidden object review channel on the internet. I've done no research about whether or not that's a true fact.
I think I would recommend some slow-mo scenes from the past with We Are the Champions playing.
well, then the video will get taken down.
Oh, you're right, because of fair use. What if you were to... No, even if you were to sing it, I think they're against that now, too.
Well, no, I mean, but it's all handled by automatic computers.
What if you were to
what I'll
sing
do is, I will say,
version?
now, it's like, please, enjoy this slow motion montage of scenes from hidden object games we've played, while the Night Dog sings "We Are the Champions" because we think he's going to do it badly enough that the automatic content machines won't flag it.
Then that is what we will do.
All right, you heard it here first. We have a plan for how to celebrate our 20th subscriber.
Excellent. It's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
Unless, of course, this video causes many people to unsubscribe.
Many people might unsubscribe after this video.
In anticipation for, that possibly
happening.
Yeah.
And, oh my god. All right, so yeah, we're absolutely doing that. That is our 20th subscriber video. Hey, I'll be like, hey, I'm the Hidden Object Guru, the internet's #1 source for for what do you call commented playthroughs? Because I wanted to say annotated, but that's when you put up things.
Commented playthroughs.
Yeah, for commenting, because there's got to be a word for that. So if there is already, I'll find out what it is, and if not, we'll come up with one.
Commented.
Like narrated playthroughs.
Yeah.
Probably narrated playthroughs, right?
Yes. Let's plays? Is it a let's play?
It's a let's play, I guess.
I guess.
I guess I could just use the word let's play. And thank you for remembering that, because I don't know how I blanked on it when I make let's plays literally 3 times a week.
I thought you thought maybe that it didn't constitute being a let's play for some reason. I wasn't sure why.
I mean, it definitely is, because I'm trying to build a community around playing the hidden object games. So, and people email me, well, not email me, but leave comments to say, hey, thanks for playing, I never got around to playing the sequel, so thanks for giving me the chance to watch your walkthrough of it so I can see how the story ended. Mm-hmm. That is an elaborated version of
what they say.
Yeah, just they said that.
Mm-hmm.
There was that's basically what they said. So anyway, what I'll do is it's like, for being the #1 source of hidden object let's plays on the internet, and you're the people that are making it happen. So I just want to say thank you, all of our fans, and we're going to celebrate it by a slow motion montage of famous scenes from hidden object games, while the Night Dog sings "We Are the Champions" badly enough that we're pretty sure YouTube's automatic content type system will not flag it.
At least it'll be a very interesting test of the quality of their program in that sense.
So like this video, tell your friends to subscribe, and we'll see you back here when we hit 48.
I'm glad that's the number.
I was going to say 50, but it's much funnier if we do another one when we hit 48.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so now that we not have only talked about The Walking Dead and played some Dark Souls, but apparently gone on about website content building strategy for 3 minutes, I think that's a good sign it's time to let everybody go. Again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for, engaging in this conversation. If you have thoughts about The Walking Dead, share them below this video, like and subscribe. Unless they're different than our feelings about it, we don't like people with other opinions.
You better block them if that happens. I don't want to come and find any comments telling us we're bad for not liking The Walking Dead.
All right, and off we go. Thanks again. Signing off from the HOGuru. You're supposed to also sign off.
Oh, and the Night Dog. I thought you were going to say "and the Night Dog," and then I was going to say "wuzzle wuzzle."
Let's do that. Signing off for HOGuru and the Night Dog.
Wuzzle wuzzle.
We'll see you here next time when we play Who the Hell Knows What.